up until then, right? So I've been drawing at this point for like over and over again.
Yeah.
I've started to get good at it, right?
Yeah.
And it's gone to my head that
Yeah.
I'm a good artist. I'm like, yes, I got this, right?
Yeah.
So I go to this conference, and there's something called a portfolio review, and I see these guys getting reviewed. Their portfolios being reviewed,
Mm.
and I was like, that's cool. And I was so proud of my little booklet that I had that had these sketches on it. I was like, I'm gonna show this to this person
Yeah.
in front of 20 people. I don't know why I did that, but I did it, right?
Okay.
Like we were all just hanging out in this little porch side, and I was like, "Hey, Benny, here you go. Look at this
Yeah.
portfolio." And Benny, his name is Benny Garcia. I will quote him because he is. I mean, he's my. I don't know what to call him now, but he's like a really good friend of mine who's also my mentor. But he doesn't want me to think of him as a mentor. But he's a. It's weird, like we've
Yeah.
come a long way. So Benny started off. He ripped my portfolio to shreds.
Oh, he did. I was not expecting that. I thought
He
he'd give you.
ripped. He
Wow.
ripped it. I it was the worst critic. I've been critiqued so many times in my life. Every day I
Yeah.
get critiqued, right?
Yeah.
That one is my worst. I think maybe it's just that's the one that really
This
left a
is
scar.
this is so interesting the way you built it up. I thought that was gonna like lead, and then you just like killed it. So I'm like, where is this going?
He ripped it, man. He said you have to keep drawing. I was like, what more? I've been doing so much. And he absolutely mercilessly just. And I had so when he handed it back to me, I didn't want to hold my portfolio.
Wow.
I was just holding it, and I had people walk up because again, I'm saying in front of 20 people. Remember I said that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So all these people they walked, they were like, "You needed to hear that." Like you
Oh, okay.
because at this point I didn't know what constructive criticism was. I didn't know that
Sure.
saying you suck is a great thing. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So and my friends were like, they were like, "You needed someone to say you suck.
Yeah.
You needed someone to say do better." And that started this little wild rage in me that every year from then on I'm going to come back to SIGGRAPH Asia. I mean, not because of this one Benny, but for multiple reasons. But every year I came back to SIGGRAPH Asia, I showed my portfolio to Benny, and every year he shredded it.
He did. He
so
did.
I
But
so I would work on it like so this conference happened once a year, and every year, so 2011, 12, 13, every year Benny shredded my he was
oh,
like he would just absolutely be like do better, and then look like so he would show me examples. I mean, look, he when I say I'm making him sound a little crude, but yeah, sure, he was brutal,
yeah.
but at the same time he showed me how to get better. He was like,
But
do
but
these
but
things.
just to give us like a background, was Benny like a
Oh yeah,
professional
yeah. So
animator?
so so back then, Benny used to work for one of the top companies called Valve, and he was also one of the resident portfolio reviewers
Got it.
because so now I'm a portfolio reviewer at the same conference, right?
Got
And
it.
Benny and I work together now. Like we're colleagues, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
weird. Our like when people ask me and mine and Benny's relationship, it's quite wild because it started off as him absolutely shredding this kid's portfolio,
Yeah.
and then we ended up being colleagues and working together. Where actually I
Wow.
hired him on a project once. It was
Wow.
because he's also a professional writer. He's a great writer as well.
Got it.
So we were looking for writers. I was like, hey Benny, can I offer you a job? And he was like, this is wild. I was like, yup.
This is that is
So
that's such a fascinating journey, right? How
oh my
things
god,
come
it's crazy.
around and
Yeah, I mean, eventually, when I kept showing him a portfolio, I think it was about 2016 or at that point, he was like, "You know what you're doing. You can stop showing it to me." And I still haven't stopped showing it. Even till today, I show it to him every year at SIGGRAPH. I'm like, Benny, look at my portfolio. Even
wow.
if I haven't updated it, it's like my SIGGRAPH trip is incomplete if I don't talk to
Sure.
Benny about my portfolio. I'll be
Got
like,
it.
look at my work. I
Got it.
mean, nowadays that conversation has become more like a discussion rather than like a portfolio review and a critique session.
Yeah.
We just chat about the possibilities of doing different things. It's
Yeah.
it's it's got. I mean, it's evolved a little bit, but yeah. So that's where. So and then that rage began, right? Where you want to impress this person, you want to get that validation, and I wasn't getting it for like 3 4 years. I would do so many things. I even had a job when I would go back and he said my portfolio was shit.
Wow. Yeah.
So it was something that you know it may sound like, oh my god, that sounds like a really crude thing to do to a person, but you have to understand that receiving an information is just as important as giving information to certain,
Sure.
so when you receive something, you have to receive it with a certain mindset.
Yep.
you know
Yep.
what when someone is absolutely destroying your portfolio, I mean, you think of solutions. You don't think of, I will never do this again. Be
Yeah.
like, how do I change that opinion? you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
um
Just to interrupt you slightly. Then in education, they have this thing called the zone of proximal development,
mhm,
and
mhm,
it's basically a stage where you're at a current level of skill set. It's this gray area here that's slightly above where you're at,
mhm,
and you're trying to move to that point so you can move to a higher stage in terms of your skill set. I feel like with Benny over there, he
mhm,
was someone that was probably at a much higher skill set and he knew you could get there, so he
mhm.
was giving you information for this gap to.
Right,
And maybe until then a lot of your professors and peers and mentors were giving you information that kept you like sustained
right,
you at this stage, but they weren't pushing you, and you
right,
were getting comfortable in that zone. And I feel
right.
like that discomfort is actually, I think they call it eustress or something, where
I know what you're talking about.
it's positive stress on your skill set. And it's the same
Right.
with like health, right? When in
Mhm,
fitness we
mhm.
constantly push applied pressure on a muscle to
Right.
ensure it
Expand. Yeah,
grows.
yeah, yeah.